Welcome to Waidsum University. You're welcome to this course, Information Privacy, Engineering and Privacy by Design, by William Stirling. So, without much ado, let's begin quickly, okay? This is Chapter 10 of this course, and Chapter 10 is Information Privacy, Governance and Management. Information Privacy, Governance and Management. So, in Information Privacy, Governance and Management, first and foremost, we're looking at what we call the Information Security Management System. Now, in Information Security Management System, the definition of the ISMS, which is Information Security Management System, was first of all documented in an international organization for standardization. Now, this international organization for standardization of the other one of its series, which is ISO 27000 suite of information security standard, it has become the benchmark for further development of this subject matter. And here, the information security policies and guidelines were enumerated and promulgated in this document. Now, in this document, which is ISO 27000, provides the following definition for information security management system. Now, it defines it as a system that consists of policies, procedures, guidelines, and associated resources and activities collectively managed by any organization or an enterprise in the pursuit of protecting its information asset. The sole aim and objective is to protect the information asset that such enterprise or such organization has. So, an ISMS is also or can be seen as a systematic approach for establishing, for implementing, for operating, for monitoring, for reviewing, for maintaining, and for improving any organization or any enterprise information security to achieve the sole and desirous business objective. It's based upon the risk assessment and the organization's risk acceptance level that upon which that this was designed or developed to effectively treat and manage any risk that is arising from the business perspective, looking at the security issues. So, analyzing requirements for the protections of assets as required and contributes to the successful implementation of ISM. Now, the following are the fundamental principles that are associated or that contribute to the successful implementation of ISMS. ISMS means Information Security Management System. Now, these principles are: one, awareness of the need for information security. So, an organization or an enterprise should be aware the need for their information security, the very reason why they should protect their information, why their informations and data, and whether the data being personally identifiable information, whether being sensitive data, whatever it is, the awareness that the organization or the enterprise has in order to secure and protect its information is very important. It's one of the principles that contribute to the successful implementation of information security management system. The second of it is the assignment of responsibility for information security. So the organization or the enterprise should see it as an urgent assignment or a very needy responsibility for it to protect its information in order to not to jeopardize the enterprise assets. Then another objective or principles underlying the information security management system is the cooperative management commitments and the interest of stakeholder in the enterprise. So we, at every point in time, in as much as we want to secure the system, the information system, we also have to incorporate the management's commitment. We must carry along the management of the organization, of the enterprise, and at the same time make it a keynote in trying to get the stakeholders to buy into this. Then another point in development of information security management system is enhancing societal values. Okay, knowing fully well that the personally available information that has been collected, or sensitive personally available information that have been collected, or data that have been collected, will be protected at all time. Okay. Then another fundamental principle that contributes to the successful implementation of information security management system is the risk assessment, determining appropriate controls to reach acceptable level of the risk. So we have to look at the risk assessment in determining the appropriate controls and measures that can be taken in order to avert disruption and disruption in the enterprise system. Then another very fundamental principle that contributes to the development of ISMS is the security incorporated as an essential element of information network and system. So security has to and needs to be incorporated as an essential element of information network and system. The active preventions and detections of information security incidents. Okay, active prevention and detection of information security incidents have also contributed to one of the being the fundamental principles that helps in the enhancement or development of information security management system. They're also assuring the reason or the need to ensure a comprehensive approach to information security management system has also contributed to the reason why we have come up with the information security management system or developed the fundamentals and fundamental principles that helps in the information security management. Also, the continual reassessment of information security and making of notification has also contributed to the reason why we have arrived on the fundamental principle that are very cognizant to the development of ISMS. Okay, now let's go to the next step, which is information security governance concept. So in NIST SP 800-100 information security handbook, this has a whole document called the Information Security Handbook, a guide for managers. This handbook defines information security governance as one, the process of establishing and maintaining a framework and supporting management structure and processes to provide assurance and information security strategies that align with the support of the business objective, business goals, mission, visions that are consistent with the applicable laws and regulations that the company or the business or the enterprise had to adhere to in adherence to the policies and internal controls of the organization or of the enterprise, and provide assignments of responsibility or in effort to manage risks and get the enterprise going. Now, still on the information security management, the ISO document, the 27000 suit, defines information security management as the supervision, the process or the supervisions and the making of decision, because now we quote unquote we're looking at information security management itself. Information security management is the supervisions and the making of decision necessary to achieve business objective. The supervisions and the making of decisions that are well necessary to achieve business objective through the protections of the organization's information asset. So you cannot jeopardize the organization's information asset and claim that you are providing information security, or you are providing information security management. You are providing the management for information security. So in all, whatever you do, the business objective must be achieved, and at the same time you will not jeopardize the business asset. Management of information security is expressed through formulations and use of information security policies, using the policies, using the procedures, using the laid out guidelines and policy frameworks, which are then applied or that are applicable throughout the organizations by all the individuals that works within that organization, that work for the organizations, whether they are employee or they are employers. So must follow these guidelines and must follow this protocol that has been set, put in place. Now we go to the next section, which is information security implementation and operation. Now we can define information security implementation operation as the process of implementing or deploying the ongoing operation of security controls defined within the cybersecurity framework. So the process of when we say information security operations and implementation, it's actually the process of implementing, the process of deploying, the process of deploying the ongoing operation security controls. All the operation security controls that we have has to be fully deployed, has to be fully operational, has to be fully put in use within the cybersecurity framework. Okay, now let's move to the next section. Here, if you take a look at this diagram, let's take a look at what we can use. Okay, I think we should go to pencil. Okay, just continue. So if you come here, you see that the security governance, right? Here is the security governance. Here we have the security management, and then here we have security implementation operation. So the first one is the governance. Governance includes really strategic planning. It's everything about governance is about planning, strategic planning, taking risk, okay, risk taking, strategic planning, which includes in an organization, in an enterprise, it includes the organizational structure, the roles and the responsibility of everything, and then the information security architecture, the policies and guidelines, as it were. These are all features of security governance. And let's go to security management. Security management takes a holistic look at the cybersecurity framework. In this case, it looks at the control measures and the allocate resources capability. Then the third part is the security implementation and operation, which consists of implement and display cursor, deployment, attack detection. How you can, these are the implementation and operation. Putting control, the control measures that you have, the security control measures that we have, being operational, being put in full deployment. Okay, the attack detection mechanism, the performance measurement that you have in your system, the maintenance, attack recovery in case the attack happens to your system, the auditing system, the update, the patch, and the generate feedback. All of these features are part of the security implementation and operation, okay, in an organization. So what you see here is figure 10.1, which is information security management elements. Okay, let's move to the next one. Here we have, let's take a look at something that can help us better. Use precision. Okay, I think it's wasting our time. I think we should just continue. Okay, here we have the first one, the subset, the smallest subset is the security strategic planning. Okay, it's the smallest subset in the strategic planning when you're looking at strategic planning. So after that, after you have security strategic planning, then you have IT strategic planning. Okay, the security strategic planning is a subset of your IT strategic planning, because IT is a bigger umbrella than just the security. Because in IT you have policies, you have security, you have IT infrastructures, you have so many things. Okay, so the security strategic planning is a subset of IT strategic planning, and then the IT strategic planning and the security strategic planning, both of them, they are subsets of the enterprise strategic planning. So in the enterprise strategic planning, that's where you have the security management. Okay, here you have security management. Here you have security governance. Okay, so this is what we call the strategic plan. Now let's go to the next one. Here we have the security management. If in security management you have the managers here, what they do is that they have proposals, and these proposals have to be evaluated, and then they have to be monitored. In security management, you have to monitor the process, evaluate the process, communicate to stakeholders, to and fro, and stakeholders will give you their requirement, what they need, and everything that is supposed to be, right? So these are corporate executives in the organization. Okay, so sorry for that break. Okay, break in transmission. Now let's go to the next one, which are the roles and objectives of people that are supposed to man the security of any enterprise. The roles and objectives of those who are in charge, that are supposed to execute, plan, formulate the policies, carry out the procedural processes, and formulate objectives, and execute all of this, implement, deploy all the strategies, the control measures, security control measures in an organization. Now here are the designated roles of each of them. A key aspect of security governance is defining the roles and the responsibility of the executives that are related to information security in any enterprise. Now, a good example is the executive positions that may play roles in the security governance, and these people include one, the chief executive officer, what you call the CEO. The CEO is the number one person. The bulk of everything stops at the desk of the CEO. So the CEO is the guy on top where everybody comes to at the end of the day. Is the chief executive officer, that not only the chief executive officer of an organization, is also the chief security officer as well. Okay, so everything rests in with the CEO. Then next to him is the chief operating officer, and then we have chief information officer, the person that is totally responsible for the information security. Then we also have the chief. In some organizations, we separate the chief information officer from the chief security officer. Okay, or chief information security. Some organizations prefer to put both names, information and security, together. They call it chief information security officer. So in some organizations, it's one role, but in some the bigger the corporation, the more these roles will be designated or be broken down into subsets. Okay, then we have the chief risk officer, and then we have chief privacy officer, which are a little bit lower than the chief information security officer, and then we have the chief counsel. Okay, these are the people. All of these are responsible for information security. Now let's take a look at this subsection: integration with enterprise architecture. Now, there are a key element of security governance is the development of information security architecture, which can be defined using the following terms. One is the architecture. Number two is the enterprise architecture. Number three is the information security architecture. So in all of this, you see we're mentioning the word architecture. We said that security governance is the development of an information security architecture, right? So in all of this, we said we start with the first one, which is architecture, the second one enterprise architecture, and then the third one information security architecture. So first of all, the architecture is the way in which the components parts of an entity are arranged, organized, and managed. When we say architecture, the word architecture is the way the component parts of an entity or an organization or an enterprise are arranged, organized, and managed. That's what we call the architecture. Now, when you say enterprise architecture, you're saying the system, the infrastructure, the operations, and the management of all the information technology throughout the enterprise. So now you are narrowing the word architecture to enterprise architecture. So enterprise architecture includes the system itself, like your network, the organizations, the enterprise, and the infrastructure that it has, like all the IT infrastructure that are found in your organizations, the operations, the operational methodology, and the management of all of this, of all the information technology in the organization throughout an enterprise is called the enterprise architecture. Now, when we talk about information security architecture, now we are breaking in deep. We're going deep down, and we are saying that this is an embedded integral part of the enterprise. Okay, because you are now being specific when you say information security architecture. So you're saying it's an integral part of the enterprise architecture that describes the structures and behavior for the enterprise security processes and the information security systems, the personnel that are working in the IT infrastructure, and the organizational sub-unit, showing their alignment with the enterprise missions and strategic plans. So this is information security architecture. And then we also say that the organization's information security architecture provide information on how security and capabilities are to be placed and used in the enterprise architecture. Now let's move on. Integration with enterprise architecture. First of all, we say the sub-architecture domains represent specific areas of overall frameworks. Now, the domains provide a standardized language and framework for describing and analyzing investment and operation in any enterprise or organization. Now, each domain is defined in terms of sets of artifacts, which are essentially items of documentations that describe parts of all the architecture. Now, there are three levels of artifacts in enterprise architecture. One is high level artifacts, the second one is mid level artifacts, the third one is low level artifacts. Now, the high level artifacts, what they normally do is a document strategic plan and objectives, typically in form of policies, statement, and diagrams. So when you say high level artifacts, you're talking about document strategic plans. Okay, you document your strategic plan and your objective in the form of policies, statement, and diagrams. The mid-level artifacts are document organizational procedure. When you document organizational procedure and operations such as services, supply chain element, information flow, and IT and network architecture, these are regarded as mid-level artifacts. Then we have the low-level EA artifacts, which are these artifacts are documents, the process of documenting the specific resources such as applications, interfaces, and data dictionaries, hardwares, and the security controls. Now let's move on quickly. So we say table 10.2 is the enterprise architecture reference model. Here we have the reference model, we have the elements, the goals and benefits. We have the performance reference model, we have the business reference model, we have data reference model, application reference model, infrastructure reference model, and security reference model. So in each of these, first the performance, the key elements you look out for performance are the goals. Is the system meeting the goals, the measurement areas, what are the parameters, okay, in the measurement areas, measurement categories, what are you looking at? Then what's the benefit, the goals or the benefit? The benefit is there does it improve the organization performance and governance? Is there cost benefit? So if it doesn't improve the organization's performance and there's no cost benefit, then there's no performance. Performance reference model has not been achieved. Now, when you talk about business reference model, you look at the mission of the business, the vision of the business, okay, the functions and services of the business. So the goals and benefits from here is the organization's transformation. Is the business improving? Is it growing? Is it transforming? What are the analysis, the designs, and the engineering? Are all improving? So if all these parameters are taking place, then there's a business reference model is growing. Then we talk about data reference model, which is the domain, the subject, the topic, and so on and so forth. Is there data quality? Is it reuse, information sharing? Is it agile development, and all of this? What type of script are you using for the system? Then we have the applications reference model, which is system applications, component interface, what application portfolio management we use, cost benefit analysis, and all of these things. Then we have infrastructure reference model, which includes the performance. Okay, the platform is an infrastructure, the facilities you have is an infrastructure, the network itself is an infrastructure. So all they amount to assets. And is there asset management in all of this? Is there standardization? Is there cost benefit? Then we have security reference model, the purpose. Other the element, you look at the purpose, why you're carrying out security reference model, the risk, the control. Then other the goals and benefit is there a secure business, IT environment, is it secure, is it better off? So these are all the things we're talking about. Figure 10.4 is the relationship between reference model components that we just talked about. The business reference model is talking about the business capability and the organizational assets and so on and so forth. When you talk about data reference model, you're linking with the data assets and so on and so forth. Application reference model, you're looking at the IT assets, and infrastructure, both of them are looking at the IT asset. Okay, so let's move on quickly. Same here, we're talking about all the references, all the reference model with security reference model and security domain. Okay, we're linking them all the reference model with security domain. Now let's go to policies and guidelines. Under the NIST SP 853 security and privacy control for information security organization, they define information security policy as an aggregate of directives So when you say, when you talk about information security policies, okay, we define information security policies as aggregate of directives, the rules, you can say aggregate of rules, and the practices that prescribe how an organization or an enterprise manages, or how they want to protect and how they want to distribute the information in that organization. Okay, it's very essential component for security governance, because without information security policies, then we cannot, without the policy framework and the policy itself, then we will not have a good direction in forming the security governance, and hence we will not be able to have a very good security management system put in place in any organizations or in any organization. Okay, so because this will not undermine the goals and the objective of the organization, because if you have policies, these policies will guide the security infrastructure and the security architecture in achieving the goals and the visions and missions of the organizations. Is that okay? So let's move on quickly. Now, information privacy rules. Information privacy rules. We say the privacy management structure depends in large part on the size of the organization. Yeah, if this organization is small, then it's easy to manage, right? Whether it's private or public sector, or it's a regulatory environment or a regulatory government, whatever it is, it's the privacy, it's a function of the size somehow. Excuse me. Common privacy position includes: one, the chief. We already mentioned some of this. The chief privacy officer, data protection officer, privacy counsel, privacy champion, privacy leader. Now we're going to discuss each of these individuals in every organizations as to handling information privacy in an organization. Now, the chief privacy officer is the guy on top of every privacy that works hand in hand with the chief information security officer. Okay, the chief privacy officer has the necessary authority to lead and direct the organization's privacy programs. All the privacy, including the formulation, the policies, the regulations, the implementation, the operations, and all of these privacy programs. That includes the development and implementations of the organization's privacy policies. So, including this chief privacy officer, one of his role or job is also to get involved in the development and implementations of the organization's privacy policies. So he has to have a first hand into the development of and the implementation, not only developing the policies, privacy policies of the organization. He also has to be the chief officer in the implementation of these privacy policies. Now, the chief privacy officer also has to be aware of the relevant privacy laws and regulations, and ensures that the organization is compliant with the privacy laws and regulations of the government. Okay, has to comply with the privacy laws and regulations of the country in which this organization operates. Okay, typically the chief privacy officer is the point of contact for media and also the external inquiry about privacy related matter that has to do with the organization or the enterprise with the rest of the world, with the outside world. Now, a survey based on online job descriptions for chief privacy officer that found the following responsibility for chief privacy officer. Now, this responsibility or job responsibility for chief privacy officer as a result of a survey that has been carried out, experimental survey that has been carried out. Now, one of the first very good job for a chief privacy officer, in case you, as a graduate of this course or of IT, information technology, or computer science, computer engineering, one of the things that probably your role, if you're taking a job position as chief privacy officer, is that you're going to comply compliance, duty, and effort. That's one of your job. And then you're also going to do what we call the coordinate regulatory monitoring effort. Okay, you will coordinate regulatory monitoring effort. You will operationalize compliance effort. You will intra-organizational collaboration between your organization and other organization. And within your organization also, that's within your organizational collaborations with the different departments in your organizations. And then employee training, you have to know of this. Privacy, public relations, you have to relate with the company's privacy with the public. Then employees management and oversight, you have to get first-hand hand on this. You have to be on top of your game when it comes to this. Build and improve the privacy program. You have to be able to develop privacy program for your organizations. You have to, and at the same time, implement them with the approval from the chief executive officer. Then data governance, you must be able to provide information governance and data governance in your enterprise network. Then the third party contracts, in case you have to deal with the other companies, you should be able to be on top of the game in drafting third party contract when it has to do with privacy. And then also incident response, should be able to respond when necessary in case anybody's privacy has been breached, or your organization has been sued by a third party for breach of privacy. Okay, now let's move on. Then we have what we call the data protection officer, not the DPO, police DPO, okay? Because when we say DPO, quite a number of you, we think we're talking about police DPO. This is not a police DPO. DPO in this course is data protection officer. It's a big position in an organization if you're a graduate of IT or computer science or network engineering. Okay, so we say one of your job is that you will be responsible for highlighting any issues or concerns related to the organization's compliance with privacy regulations and law. Okay, you'll be responsible. Then typically you are also responsible for performing internal audits and handling complaints. And then you may be responsible also for conducting a privacy impact assessment. Yes, privacy impact assessment. So you have to always carry this out in your organization and outside the organization. Now, the General Data Protection Regulation by European Union lists the task of the DPO as follows. That this is your job according to European Union. These are some of the things you have to do as a data protection officer. One, you go to inform and advise the controller or the processor and the employees who carry out the processing of their obligations pursuant to the General Data Protection Regulation and to other unions or member state data protection provisions. So you have to carry out what we call information, guide them, training, information, advice, and all of these things. Then you have to be able to monitor compliance with the General Data Protection Regulation with other union or member state data protection provisions, and so on and so forth. Then you also have to be able to provide advice where requested regarding the data protection impact assessment and monitor its performance in the organization. You also have to be able to cooperate with the supervisory authority. Then you have to also be able to act as the contact point for the supervisory authority on issues related to processing and consult, okay, where appropriate and any regard has to be given to any subject matter as it arises. Then the General Data Protection Regulation indicates that the DPO should be independent of others with information privacy responsibilities. So they should be independent. Is that okay? Then the DPO does not have operational responsibility for implementing privacy measures, none policies responsibility for deciding the level of privacy risk the organization will assume. This will be done by either the CEO or the COO or the chief information security officer. The Privacy Council is one of the positions you can have in an organization if you are given, and this is their job. Privacy Council is like the lawyer or the counsel is an attorney. Okay, in United States, they normally refer to lawyers as Anthony. It's an attorney who deals with the legal matters related to the privacy. So an organization can hire you as a privacy counsel. So your job is to advise, give the legal framework or legal advice on some of this subject matter like privacy. Then the duties includes what you're going to do if you're a lawyer and a big organization has hired you. For example, Waidsum University decide to recruit you as a privacy counsel. These are some of the job and responsibilities that you'll be doing for Waidsum University. You're going to be providing advice on data privacies and security legal requirements. You're going to be advising on the incident response process and providing legal advice on responding to actual incidents. You're going to be actively monitoring and advising on local and global legal development. You're going to be responding to third-party questionnaires and inquiries. You're going to be developing compliance mechanisms for new products and services. You're going to be actively involved in product developments and drafting relevant customer-facing documentation, and so on and so forth. You're going to also be drafting and negotiating contractual provisions with customers, vendors, and partners. Okay, so all of this will be your responsibility as the Waidsum University Privacy Counsel if Waidsum University decides to give you this job as our privacy lawyer, or what you call the privacy attorney. The privacy counsel is the privacy attorney that handles all the legal matters related to privacy. Okay, not all the legal case in the Waidsum University, but you will handle all the legal matter that has to do with privacy, information privacy in Waidsum University if you give it this job. Okay, so privacy leader is also a position. Okay, it's also a position that is available for people that works in information security. Now, the privacy leader, what is doing is that is the head of privacy compliance and operations, and maybe the most senior privacy official in the organization. So when we say privacy leader, it could be the most senior privacy individual in the organization. In the U.S. federal government system, they use the federal system. We're not talking about the state now. We say the equivalent term is senior agency official or privacy. Either you say senior agency official or you say senior agency privacy. So this is same as saying privacy leader. Then the privacy leader these are your job. Okay, you will develop and maintain a privacy program plan. You will develop and maintain a privacy continuous monitoring strategy and programs to maintain the ongoing awareness of the privacy risk in your organization. Okay, you will conduct and document the results of privacy control assessment to verify the continued effectiveness of all the privacy controls selected and implemented in your organization, and so on and so forth. Okay, let's move on quickly. So here we have the relative positions of privacy leader in an organization. So a privacy leader can be hired in some organization as privacy leader relative to CISO, that's Chief Information Security Officer. In some organization, privacy leader is equivalent to Chief Information Security Officer. So in some organization, privacy leader is related to data protection officer. In some organization, privacy leader is related to Chief Privacy Counsel. Is related to Chief Privacy Counsel. Now let's look at these organizations, how they see the privacy leader. Those who say the privacy leader is equivalent to Chief Information Security Officer in this organization is 8%. Those who say a more junior position, privacy leader is a more junior position compared to the Chief Information Security Officer is 22%. Those who say that an equivalent level position, they are like almost equivalent level. They are not the same, but they are equivalent. They are 38%. Those who says the privacy leader is more senior level position compared to Chief Information Security Officer is 50%. Those who say don't have the Chief Information Security position in their organization, they are 70%. So if you compare to this one, privacy leader related to the data protection officer, those who say they are same with privacy leader is same as data protection officer, is 56%. Those who say privacy leader is a more junior position compared to data protection officer is 2%. Here, those who say privacy leader is equivalent to the data protection officer is 30%, and those who say privacy leader is a more senior level position compared to the data protection officer is 30%. But comparing it with the chief privacy counsel, okay, so the privacy leader, those who say same as chief privacy counsel is 32%. Those who say is a more junior privacy leader is a more junior position compared to chief privacy counsel is 10%. Those who say privacy leader is an equivalent level position with the chief privacy counsel is 11%. Here, those who say privacy leader is more senior position compared to chief privacy counsel is 7%. Those who say they don't have privacy leader, they don't have chief privacy counsel in the organization is 40%. Okay, so you can see the comparison, the positions called privacy leader, how they see it in an organization, whether it's equivalent to chief information security officer or equivalent to data protection officer or equivalent to chief privacy counsel. Okay, now let's move on. Now, privacy champion in an organization, what position is this? Who is this? What job and roles and responsibility does privacy champion plays in an organization? The role of privacy champion is to promote a culture of privacy throughout the organization. The job is just to promote the culture of privacy throughout the organization. Is that okay? This can be either a full-time job for some company, or they can hire this person as a part-time job. Okay, a part-time or a full-time job. Okay, now then on one hand, the champion acts as an ambassador for the privacy leader and the enterprise privacy manager to communicate the privacy policy in the local environment. So the job of the champion is just someone that is working under the privacy leader or working under the data protection officer or chief privacy counsel or chief information security officer. So this privacy champion is just under him that relates, someone who relates the privacy policies of the manager or of the officer to the people in the community. Now, on the other hand, the champion acts as an advocate for the privacy culture, promoting awareness and working to ensure that the privacy requirements are built into end-use system and software. So he also ensures that this does not stop in this place, they build it to usable system and software. Now, privacy program plan. Essential element of information privacy governance is to have develop a privacy program plan. Without a proper privacy program plan, you will not be able to have a successful information privacy and its governance. You will not have a successful information privacy, let alone the information privacy governance. So we should have what we call the privacy program plan. Now, the two terms are important to this discussion when we talk about privacy program plan. Number one is the privacy program itself. Number two is the privacy program plan itself. Now, privacy program is the management and operational technical aspect of protecting the personally identifiable information, right? And it also encompasses the policies, the procedures, and the management structure and the mechanism for coordinating privacy activity in the enterprise network. Then the privacy program plan is a formal document, just a document, okay? A formal document that provides an overview of organizational privacy program. That's it, okay? Now let's move on quickly. So in the elements of privacy program plan document has to look at these three areas: the strategic or the strategy that is being used, the operation, the mode, the method of operation, and the oversight. Okay, so when you look at the topic area or the subject matter of each of these area, you look at, when you say strategic, you look at the mission statement and the strategic goals, the fair information privacy practices, the structure of the privacy program, and so on, privacy rules, and so on. When you look at the operational, you look at the managing personally identifiable information privacy control, budget and acquisition, privacy impact assessment, and workforce management, training and awareness, and all of these things. Then we talk about oversight, you talk about audit and monitoring, notice and redress, and privacy reporting. So these three areas are the key elements of privacy program plan, okay, and they must be maintained in your system. And let's move on quickly. Information privacy management first looks at these 5 canonical blocks. The information privacy management looks at these 5 canonical blocks. The first is looking at the information privacy management function entails establishing, implementing, and monitoring an information privacy program under the direction of the senior responsible person, such as the privacy leader or the chief privacy officer. The privacy management involves multiple levels of management. Then, in general, executive manager has to understand the organization as a whole and have more authority to operate. Okay, and then we also say, on the other hand, the frontline managers are more familiar with specific requirements, and whether they are technical requirements or they are procedural requirements, and also the problems of the system and the users as it arises. Then the level of privacy program management should be complementary. So complementary has to complement one another. Each can help the other to be more effective in implementation. Now here, figure 10.7 shows the key areas of privacy management. Here you have what you call the privacy by design. In the privacy by design, you also have privacy engineering, and then you have process management, you have the ongoing monitoring, communication, enforcement, training. So these are key areas of privacy management. We have in the implementing privacy and managing ensuring that there is high level of security and information security and privacy in an organization. We must have what we call training. So the employees must be seriously trained, okay, in order not to jeopardize the privacy of your customers and clients within your organization. They must learn about enforcement, when to, when not to, and proper communications, and ongoing monitoring, process management also, privacy engineering, and privacy by design. Privacy planning. Okay, in privacy planning, you must involve alignment of information privacy management and operations with enterprise and the IT strategic planning. You must have an alignment of the information privacy management and the operations of the enterprise with the IT strategic planning. Then you must also have a guide, a useful guide or guidelines to privacy planning as given by the Guide for Developing Security Plans for Federal Information System in NIST SP 800-8018. Now, the purpose of the System Privacy Plan is to provide an overview of the privacy requirements of the system and describe the control in place or planned for meeting those requirements. Okay, let's move on quickly. Privacy policies. Privacy policies includes an information privacy policy. We say an information privacy policy is an aggregate of the directives and the rules and the practices that best help, that are prescribed or that describe or that tells how an organization can manage and protect and distribute information. Related documents include the privacy program plan, which we have talked about. Number 2, privacy plan, which relates to security controls in place and plan to meet strategic privacy objectives. Then we have privacy policies. Privacy policies relates to specifying the policies and procedures that regulates how the employees and non-employee or non-employed personnel conduct themselves in relation to personally identifiable information handled by the organization. Then another key element or related area in this document is the privacy notice. This privacy notice relates to the information provided to outsider or outside user concerning privacy protection in this enterprise network. Then another key element is the acceptable use policies. Acceptable use policies, what the company or the organization or the enterprise as a level of policies that they accept relates to how users are allowed to use the assets in the network. Okay, now here is privacy policies which we have described. We said the purpose of this information privacy policy is to ensure that all the employees in the organization understand the privacy principles in use where they work, and so that they will be able to implement and also stay within the limit of what is allowable in the framework or in the policies of these privacies, and their individual privacy related responsibility. Also, an information privacy policy is the means by which the organization provides management direction and support for information privacy across the entire organization. The privacy policy document defines what is expected from the employees and possibly other things that have a role in the organizations. Okay, here is privacy policy still on it. The privacy policy document should include the following major section. Should include the overview, the people, risk and responsibility, requirement for personal and valuable information, and the external context. So, under overview, the background of information has to be understood on the purpose of the documents, what issues the policies is about to address. Then other people, risk and responsibility, the scope of the policies, what risk it addresses, and the responsibility of the employee in various positions will be described. Other people, risk and responsibility. Requirement for personally identifiable information. Details on the measure taken to protect. What details is the organization taking to protect the personally identifiable information? Then the external context. This one relates to the policies that is related to personally identifiable information principle and other external parties that are involved in giving out information or sensitive personally identifiable information. Here is the elements of information privacy policy document, which you can take a look at. And then here is the OASIS privacy management reference model. OASIS is an acronym, which means the Organization for Advancement of Structured Information Standard. That's the meaning of OASIS. Organization for the Advancement of Structured Information Standard. It's a non-profit organization or a non-profit consortium that concerns itself with the development and adoption of open standard for global information security. So this is a non-profit organization or consortium that comes together to adopt some standards for global information security. This consortium has come up with more than 5,000 participants representing more than 600 organizations and individual members in more than 65 countries in the world. This Organization for Advancement of Structured Information Standard, OASIS, what they do is that they promote industry consensus and produces worldwide standards, including in areas related to security privacy. Okay, here is the figure 10.8 is PMRM process, privacy management, risk management. So here we have the privacy management analysis, privacy architecture. Here you have the operational risk and or compliance assessment. Okay, operational risk has something to do with the privacy management analysis. Also has something to do with privacy architecture. Then you have technical procedural mechanisms for services and functions, and then you have services and functions for privacy control. Here it talks about the policies and the privacies, the assurances, and the presentations. Okay, and the lifestyle of these these organizations. Then here it talks about detailed privacy analysis. Here we look at system element, PII, require privacy control. There we also have on top of it we have what we call the use case description and high level analysis. Here is use case. Use case has something to do with detailed privacy analysis, and there you have services function and for privacy control, and then you have technical, procedural, and then operational, and the last one which has to do with the privacy management analysis and so on and so forth. Okay, here is you can have a look at this, the PMROM, privacy management risk management services. Here you see the agreements, and you see the usage and so on and so forth. So many things. You look at this document. Okay, for the sake of time, let's move on. So you can just take a look at that. Then the PMROM methodology envision two important documents as output of the process: a privacy management analysis and a privacy architecture document. Okay, so each of them has their own concept. The privacy management analysis serve multiple stakeholders, including the privacy officers, the engineers in an organization, the managers, the general compliance managers, and the system developers. And it's a high-level structured document that maps policies of privacy controls to services and functions in any given enterprise or organizations, which in turn are implemented via mechanisms, both whether they're technical or they're procedural. Okay, so the PMA documents are a way in which this document case is handled and can serve as an input to shorten the analysis for other who may be in need of this. OASIS is currently working on the template for PMA, privacy management analysis, that can guide managers and analysts in the creation of the document. So the privacy architecture is the second part. The second part of PMROM is the privacy architecture. The privacy architecture is the actual implementation of the privacy controls for the use case. Okay, it is integrated set of policies, control, services, and functions implemented in a mechanism that is operational and can solve the privacy issues in any given organization. The privacy architecture document should be applicable to other use case with similar requirements. So here is where we have the privacy by design documentation, and you have proactiveness. These are some features or elements: respect for user privacy, visibility and transparency, end-to-end security, lifestyle protection, full functionality, positive sum, non-zero sum, privacy embedded into design, privacy as a default. So all of these are the key elements of privacy by design documentation. Is that okay? Let's move on. So this leads us to the end of this. At the end, let's take a look at the basic areas we've looked at. We looked at the concept of security governance and how it differs from security management. We looked at the key components of security governance. We looked at the responsibility that are part of the security governance, the roles and responsibility that are part of the security governance. We've also looked at the concept of security governance. We looked at the roles and responsibility that are part of privacy governance. We've also looked at key areas of privacy management. We've looked at, or we've addressed topics such as privacy program plan, privacy plan, and privacy policies. And also we have overview of the OASIS privacy management reference model. So thank you very much. Once again, we say you are welcome to Waidsum University. Thank you.